Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to be going over and showing you how to install the eTrailer trailer hitch receiver here on a 2021 Toyota Highlander. So this is what our trailer hitch is going to look like installed on our Highlander here, and this hitch does have a hidden cross tube design, meaning the cross tube that attaches either side is going to be tucked back behind the bumper here. This is not only going to give us the best ground clearance, it's also going to give us the best overall look because our hitch is mostly hidden. And what we can see has a nice matte black powder coated finish, and our particular brand of eTrailer hitches have that matte finish compared to some of the other ones which are more shiny. And I personally like the matte a little bit better because it actually blends in really well with the underbody paneling on the vehicle, and it does a bit better job of hiding nicks and scratches. Adding a trailer hitch to your Highlander, it's going to be an excellent option because it's going to make your vehicle that much more versatile. Now we can obviously use a trailer hitch for towing, but let's say we wanted to hit some trails or just simply free up some space inside the vehicle for us and the family on those long road trips. We could easily attach either a hitch-mounted bike rack or hitch-mounted cargo carrier. So in regards to towing, our trailer hitch is going to provide us with a 5,000 pound gross trailer weight rating. That's the amount we can pull outward on our receiver tube. And it's also going to have a 500 pound tongue weight rating. That's the downward force on the receiver tube. Now keep in mind, these capacities are for the hitch only, which is tested separately of the vehicle. Therefore, you do need to verify the vehicle's towing capacity in your owner's manual and abide by the lower of the two rated components, whether that's the hitch or the vehicle. Now our receiver tube size is going to be an industry standard 2" by 2", and that's great because it's going to be the most widely compatible with all those hitch mounted accessories from ball mounts to bike racks and cargo carriers. Now on the side of the receiver tube, we're going to have our industry standard 5/8" diameter hitch pin hole. That's going to work great with our industry standard 5/8" diameter hitch pin and clip. Now keep in mind, the hitch pin and clip don't actually come with the trailer hitch, and the reason for that is a lot of your hitch mounted accessories are actually going to come with their own, so you shouldn't need to worry about purchasing this separately, but if you do need one, we have plenty of options here at eTrailer. And on the side of our receiver tube, we're going to have our safety chain loops. Those are going to work great with both the S type as well as the larger clevis style. So now we have a couple of measurements for you guys. They're going to help you when you're selecting those hitch mounted accessories. The first one is just simply the distance from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube. You're looking at about 16¼ inches, and that'll be useful when you're selecting your hitch mounted accessories such as a ball mount. That way you can make sure you get the correct rise and drop to tow your trailer level. And then we have the distance from the center of the hitch pin hole to the outside edge of the bumper. And for this one here, you're looking at about 1.5 inches, so there shouldn't be any issues at all with those folding accessories coming in contact with the vehicle. So in regards to installation, this is going to be very straightforward. It's definitely something a weekend warrior can do by themselves at home. You don't need to lift the vehicle up in the air, and you don't need any specialized tools. There is one tool you're going to need you might not have, and that's a torque wrench, but you can actually rent this for free from most local auto parts stores. I would give yourselves around 1 to 2 hours depending on your experience level, but we'll go ahead and walk you through the entire process step by step now. Keep in mind, you don't have to modify the vehicle at all if you don't want to, which is really nice, especially if you're leasing the vehicle. So the first step of our installation, we're going to come underneath our vehicle here, and over on the driver's side, we're going to have an underbody trim panel we need to remove. Now this trim panel is held in place with a few different kinds of fasteners. So you're going to see we have some push pin fasteners here on the outside. In order to get those out, you're going to take a flathead screwdriver, and you're going to pry out that center section as best you can. And if there's a lot of dirt and debris in there, it's going to make it a little bit more challenging. But just go ahead and pry that center section out, and then the rest of it should follow. If not, you can kind of pry out the outside section. Let's see if this one is going to come out the same way. You can see all that dirt and debris falling out of there. That's what makes them a little bit harder to remove. There we go, we got those two out. And now we have some other fasteners. So you can see these here are just going to be some standard Phillips head. So you're just going to take your Phillips head screwdriver and remove those. So we have a couple more on the outside edges here. We're going to go ahead and get those all out. And then there's two other ones that are a little bit different we'll show you next. So here's those other two fasteners that we're talking about. They're a little bit different. They're going to be some plastic nuts, and all you need to do is get a 13mm socket. You don't need any sort of ratchet for this. You can actually just turn them with your hands. We just have a deep well 13 with an extension, and you're just going to rotate those a couple times to loosen them. And then once we get these nice and loose, we should just be able to pull our panel down and out. So now on the bottom of our frame rail on either side here, you're going to see we have several plugs and grommets that we need to remove. So the rubber grommets are pretty easy. You're just going to take a flathead screwdriver and just pry those out. These here are actually going to unthread, so we're going to take this same flathead screwdriver we've been using, and you just unthread those from the bottom of the frame like so. So we have a couple of each of these on either side. We need to go ahead and remove them now. So next we have some fascia support tabs we need to remove. There's going to be one on either side, and this is what they look like here. So we're going to take a flathead screwdriver and we're going to remove the same one of those push pin fasteners that we removed earlier, and then we're just going to simply bend this tab down. We're going to do this on both sides. So now over here on the passenger side, you're going to have a bracket on your frame rail here. This is what it looks like. We need to go ahead and remove that. So we're going to grab a 17mm socket and remove that large bolt there in the center to start. So once we've got that broken free, we're going to switch over to a 10mm socket, and I'm going to be removing that smaller bolt on the outside there. So once we get that bolt removed, our bracket and bolt are both going to come out. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be trimming this underbody panel that we removed from the vehicle previously. Now, it's not required to trim this. You can just leave this off entirely. It's not going to hurt anything, but if you have the means to do so, it will offer a little bit of protection. So if you look in your instructions, you're going to see a nice diagram here that you can sort of mark out. We need to cut in two areas, back here, back here. You can kind of see I just have some rough outlines there, and I have these little yellow hash marks. That's the material we're going to be removing. So I'm going to take some time now using a Dremel tool, go ahead and remove those plastic bits, and then I'll test it on the vehicle. But again, this step isn't required here. It's just going to be recommended if you have the tools needed to remove the material. So now with an extra set of hands, we can go ahead and raise our hitch into position. You will want to go over the passenger side exhaust first and under the fascia tab. And then once we get it up into position, we'll just simply secure it to the vehicle using the M12 fasteners provided in your kit into the factory weld nuts. Now you'll see we are using a conical tooth washer there. So you need to make sure the teeth are facing up towards the hitch. So now that we have one bolt holding the hitch into position on either side, you'll go ahead and install your remaining fasteners. There is a total of 3 M12 bolts on each side. So now that we have all of our hardware in place, we're going to come back with a 19mm socket and snug up all of our fasteners. So now we're going to come back with our torque wrench here and torque all of our fasteners down to the specifications in your instructions. So now that we have the hitch reinstalled on our vehicle here, we can go ahead and reinstall our underbody panel, re-secure your fascia tabs, but once that's done, that's going to do it today for our look and installation of the eTrailer trailer hitch receiver here on a 2021 Toyota Highlander.